single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey y'all, my name is Chenelle and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a story time about me getting in my first car accident, and we landed in Lake Placid Lake, which is, if you have ever seen the movie, it's an actual movie of this place in Florida where big alligators was in the lake and they came out and they killed people, child. So just stay tuned and see what happened. Alright, so this happened back when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I wasn't even 11 actually. I was like maybe 9 or 10. And it was on New Year's Eve, and it was always a tradition for me and my family to go to church and pray in the new year. They always had a service. So we went there, but like maybe a week or two before, we had already planned to go to my mom's hometown, which is West Palm Beach, Florida. And we normally drive down there and take like the back way. So we had already had it planned the day of New Year's Eve to, after church, go straight there. We like to leave early. And church probably ended like around, I don't know, like 3 o'clock in the morning. So after church, and we prayed in the new year, we ended up getting on the road. It was my mom, it was me, and my 2 sisters. One of my sisters was like, I don't know, like 16 years old. She sat in the passenger seat. We had a Windstar van. My sister, that's like 11 months older than me, she sat in the seat behind the driver in the passenger seat, and then I was in the 3rd row. And we had all our stuff packed, and we got on the road. And about, I would say, halfway through the trip, it started to get light outside, and we ended up stopping to this Burger King. And when we stopped to the Burger King, we went to the bathroom and stuff like that. And then we got back on the road, and we were next to this car that was trying to race. And I don't know why they would try to do that when it was like a minivan with kids in it, and you can clearly see that like we were sitting in the car. And of course my mom did not race them, but it was kind of people driving crazy, because at this time it was New Year's Day and people was kind of driving crazy. But we kind of got past that, and we got to like this 2-way lane road that was like in the middle of nowhere, and it looked like something off of a horror movie, like the type of large fields with like the little road that you would see like in like Jeepers Creepers and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like it was like that type of road, and we were like in the middle of nowhere, no farm, no nothing. My mom, at one point, she dropped something obviously of importance, because she actually pulled the car over to try to reach for it or whatever. She was at a complete stop, and my sister that was sitting behind my mom, she's the one that's like right over me in age. She, I guess, just had woke up, and she thought like my mama was like losing control of the car or something. So she ended up like screaming like "mommy," like really loud, and startled my mom. And my mom's head was kind of like down at the time at a complete stop, but she couldn't see what was going on. So my mom didn't know if it was like something like a truck coming, or you know what was happening. So she got startled and like whipped the car over. And when she whipped the car, like the car just spun out of control. So we started like spinning out of control. We came like this close to hitting a pole on the passenger side, and we just kept spinning and spinning. And at the time, it was like this big bush that was like in the middle of nowhere, and we somehow got spinning around the bush, and right behind the bush was actually the Lake Placid. Now this lake is known for having like alligators in it. It's not like the big alligators like the movies, but they are known for having alligators. We landed in this lake, and the way the car landed was the back of the van, kind of like where I was sitting, it was like in the water a little bit, and then the front of the van was kind of like tilting up out the water or whatever. So the car started to kind of sink, and my sister, the one that started her, she kind of panicked and opened our sliding door. She opened it to try to, I guess, get out or whatever, because the car started sinking on its own. But when she did that, she allowed more water to get inside the car, so the car really started sinking. And thank God, because at the time my mom had a Windstar van that was like electronic. Everything was electronic, rolling down the windows and everything. Thank God she had her window down, and it was like the only window that was down in the car, because we were able to climb out of that window. And when we climbed out, I still remember the smell to this day of that water. It was like very murky and muddy water. We had to basically kind of swim our way out of the water. Like my mom and my big sister, like they helped the two little ones, me and my other sister, get out of the car and kind of get to land. And when we did that, I ended up running to the street trying to get somebody to stop, but we in the middle of nowhere, so like finding cars passing by like wasn't too often. Somebody eventually ended up stopping and ended up calling the cops. And then from there, they ended up kind of calling news people in the local area. And I wish to God I could find like at least an article on the story. I can't find it anywhere, because I know I probably can't find a news clip. I mean, we was all on the news. Like, it was a big story there, because it was like this family, a one-car accident. We landed the lake started sinking our car. By the time the news people got there, the car was fully submerged. Like, you can only see the top of the car, so we could have very well died. And fun fact, the lake was, like I said, known for having alligators, but like a week before we got in the accident, they, thank God, took all of the alligators out of that water like a week before, so we didn't have to come in contact with that, because we would have been fucked, like, for real. So, you know, after the news and stuff like that, the cops took us to this local, like, I guess you can say like an automotive shop. Like, it was like a shop basically with cars that got in accidents. That was a very known road for people getting in accidents. And like, we seen all types of cars. We seen like cars that was like people heads going through the windshields, and like they had this big old hole through the windshields. We seen like just like cars that looked like soda cans. Like, it was just like crazy. And like a week before our accident, this one lady, she got in an accident on that same stretch of road around the same area, and she ended up dying. I think it was like a 2-car accident with her, but she ended up dying, and her car like had a hole in the freaking windshield. So like, I think sis like went through the windshield. Like, it was very scary. And I'm like 9 or 10 years old seeing this shit, and just, but at the same time seeing like how blessed we was, because like it could have gotten bad. Like, they had just removed the, you know, the alligators out a week before. We went close to hitting a pole, and thank God we did not. My mom's window was rolled down. We was able to crawl out the window and things like that. So that wasn't my last accident. I actually got in another one with my sister years later, and we ended up hitting a pole, but we wasn't going that fast, so it wasn't as bad as the one when I was like 9 or 10 years old. But still to this day, after those accidents, especially the first one, I just cannot really bring myself to drive. Like, I'm just like terrified of driving. I don't even like being in cars, period, like a passenger of a car, because I just feel like if you really think about it, it's so many ways you can die in an accident. Like, I would rather get shot than die in an accident, or just get in another accident, because you can like fly the car, you know, you can get crushed to death, you can burn to death. Like, it's just so many ways, and just the thought of it just freaks me the hell out. So even though it's been years since that happened, I still to this day do not have my license, and I'm well into my 20s, and this happened when I was like 9 or 10 years old. But I can't bring myself to like really get in the car and drive and stuff like that. And especially if I have passengers, just the thought that their lives is in my hand, like, I don't know if I could like really deal with that. I'm trying to get better at it though, because it would be nice to have a car. So it's not that I can't afford one, I'm just so scared to like drive. I'm scared. So yeah, that was like my that was my story time of when I got in my first accident and we landed in Lake Placid Lake. Even if y'all don't watch the movie, because it's so old, I don't know if because the movie was made like years and years before we got in the accident. I don't even know if they have the movie still to view, unless you have it like on VHS or something. But if you can at least Google Lake Placid, you will see that like it's an actual place in Florida, like it does exist. It's actually an actual city and an actual lake. But they basically based that movie off of that location, and the movie is just like these big alligators killing people. It's almost like Jaws or something like that, or it was like another movie a long time ago with like the big spiders or something, and that's why people scared of spiders. But yeah, it's kind of was like that, like these big ass alligators was just like eating up people in a residential area. So you know, just the thought that we crashed in that lake and like the actual lake had like real alligators that was in there that was moved like a week before. Like we could have been chopped on by some alligators. We could have drowned to death, like Lord knows. Like, and that happened on New Year's, and we wasn't in no mood to see our family, so we ended up going back home, honey. And like just ever since then, I just have not really came to terms with that accident and gotten over it. So I really don't drive. Like if I go anywhere, it's just like literally like up the street, and that's if I even do that. So yeah, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching my video, and stay tuned for other videos as well. Y'all see my outlook? If y'all want a tutorial on the outlook or like a beginner's brow, just comment below. And if you have a scary accident story, comment, like, and subscribe, and tell me about the story. Thank y'all so much, and I hope y'all stay tuned.
Never take not a thing from a fuck bitch. Fuck a nigga if that do be on some fuck shit. I'm teaching you hoes the game, so pay attention. If you made it and it's yours, it don't matter how you